Well, I could just let that play all night, right? I guess not, huh? Good evening. Welcome to Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Right here on WOST Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis and Chicago, and of course, WRLNradio.com, a Ray Neal media station. It is your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. My voice is almost 100%. I'm scared. Oh my goodness. Somebody told me today at work, one of my coworkers, you know, coworkers can be cruel sometimes. It's like he didn't had a cold for a whole month. I'm like, yeah, pretty much since before Christmas, which leads me to believe it was something else other than a cold. But I'm not going to say anything. Somebody asked me, "Did you have a COVID shot or COVID test?" I'm like, "No, I didn't even think about COVID. I just was not feeling well." Usually with COVID, you can't breathe, right? I could breathe just fine. Anyway, I'm not even going to, entertain that. Well, like I was saying earlier, of course, this is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Coming up in our last hour, we do a little thing we call foreplay. That's four songs by one of your favorite artists or groups, male or female. Right now, let's do two by this artist. Two in a row from The Temptations, from the album For Lovers Only on Bedtime Stories. Well, let and again. Some enchanted evening. Mm. 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 Wise men never try. Never let. Mm. Some enchanted evening. Mm. Ah. Run to her side, make her your own. Found her. Ooh. Boo. Boo. Never let, never let it go. Never let, never let it go. Never let, never let, never let. Good evening, Ronnie, and everyone. Never let, never. Yes, I have the fancy screen up now. Yes, yes. For I am fancy, yes. Him. Yes, I am fancy tonight. Yes. Anyway. Mm-mm. What's happening up here? Mm. All right. Good evening, Ronnie. Once again, thank you for last night. They'll never know. Yes. Hey, Pam. Pam said, I'm here too. Hey, Pam. Pam, of course, is my Lyft driver. Yes. Hello, Pam. Yes. That ought to keep them talking, right, Ronnie? Let a few more people in. It's like, yes, about last night, Ronnie. It was really good. Mm. It was it was downright tasty last night. Hmm. Every minute of it I enjoyed immensely. Oh boy. Cracking myself up, aren't I? Right. It was just so good. Mm. The best I've had since I moved off of 79th and East End. Mm. Mm, mm, mm. Ah, I I thoroughly enjoyed it. Oh boy. Mm, mm, mm. Ronnie was downright yummy. Oh boy. Woo. Let's give them something to talk about. Troy. Hey, Troy. Mm-mm-mm. I don't know. Was it good for you too, Ronnie? Was it good for you too, babe? Mm-hmm. You might say it was almost finger looking good. You guys fell for that, I tell you. Anyway. Mm-mm-mm. But that'll be our little secret. Yes. Yeah. Yes, that'll be our little secret. So glad that ended very abruptly. Anyway, The Temptations from the album For Lovers Only, as I'm glad there is you. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Right here on the intro net. And of course, hello to Ronnie and also to Pam Hawkins, aka Little Hustler, who's out there um, driving up and down the street, making sure people get to their destinations in a reasonable amount of time. Made that sound really good, didn't I? And of course, Ronnie and I had a little rendezvous last night. Hey, Marion, how are you? All right, I might as well tell you guys. Okay. Me and Ronnie had, excuse me, we had dinner last night. That was about it. she, she brought me a Maxwell Street Polish, and that was about it. See, I made a big deal out of it. That just made it sound good because I wanted, you know, I want I wanted somebody to want me. I wanted to make some people jealous. Did it work? No, I guess not. All right. Like, she'd have told anyway. She'd have told like did nothing happen. Just like brother and sister, nothing happened. They're just laying there, nothing happened. Anyway, thank you for bringing me dinner last night. She was like, I'm about to go in. What you want to eat? Did you eat yet? All I had was like a sandwich from earlier. But thank you. Thank you, Ronnie. I appreciate it. As always. Hello, Marion. Marion got I guess she got hacked. And so did my friend Big Corn. He got hacked too on Instagram, which is why he's never on Facebook. He said he got hacked. I'm like, welcome to my world, bro. Hear the whispers. Do they turn you on? Like me? I doubt it, right? Dad, you had to say it like that, Ronnie. Dad. She said, absolutely no, exactly nothing. I'm like, dang, okay. All right. Dang. You say it like that. Ain't nothing happened with him. uh-uh. Ain't nothing happened. Don't say it like that. Like I ain't. So when I was growing up, my mother refused to give me a little sister. So in high school, one of my little sisters that I adopted was Mary Bowie, and Mary and I, kept in touch and everything else. We kind of fell out of touch. She got married, I got married. 20 years later, that whole thing. But it was interesting because we were on Facebook, and Mary defies age. She looks the same way she did when we were kids. When I was picking her up and we were walking up and down the street, like like we was really brother and sister. So Mary had posted this picture of her in a bathing suit. I said, "Looking good, sis." And then you know, uh, one of our former classmates, he said, "That ain't your sister." I'm like, "Negro, please." I'm like, "Really? We on that?" I thought we were all grown up in here. I'm not gonna say his name because I'm not gonna give him that kind of recognition. But I just thought, man, you haven't grown up since grammar school? That ain't your sister. Okay, thank you. You know, I mean, Mary and I were as two people could be who were, um, the opposite sex. She's my sister. You know, And like a big brother, like the big brother I am, I got mad at her. Well, not mad at her, but this guy there. But anyway, what's up, Russ? Just got back. Prayed for your guy. Had back surgery this morning. Whew, man, Russ. Our prayers go out to you. Ouch. That is, yeah, ouch. That's all I can say is ouch. A few years ago, changing the subject from my sister Mary to back surgery. A few years ago, I was considering getting back surgery. From the time I was, 13, 14 years old, I've been, you know, carrying heavy speakers. Not they're light now. I mean, speakers don't weigh as much as they used to back in the day, and they don't make them out of the same material. You know, it's like those, the plywood that thick, and then the speaker on the inside of it, and the magnet weighed about 30, 40 pounds, that kind of stuff. Now it's like, they're made out of plastic. You can damn near throw it in the air and put it on the stand. I mean, that kind of stuff. And, they're like, you know, 1,000 watts, 1,500 watts. I'm like, dang, got their own amps and everything else. Because, we used to have to carry an amp and we pushed the amp rack in, it's on wheels, had to get all that stuff back in the car or the van or the truck or whatever. And the speakers weighed a ton, and they were saying that, well, there's a 50-50 chance, Mr. Greer, we operate on you. There's a 50-50 chance that you won't walk again. I'm like, oh, well, guess what? I'm going to get some smaller speakers, So I was like, ooh, hey. The song says second time around last year, January 3rd, this year today. I think today I feel like it was a good choice. However, this is the last one. I pray that it is the last one, sir, because that's very close to your spine and all that stuff. I'm sure you were in excruciating pain. I'm sure you were. Let me turn this heat down. Because I still, after a night's gig of carrying speakers either back up the steps or back in the storage space at the other radio station, I'm so sure that, the next day I was going to be in excruciating pain. So before bed, I was smart. I would go ahead and take, a couple of Aleve, and usually the Aleve would work. The next day it would have been in my system, and then I'm not hurting as bad. So, but my father, wise man, he said, you have to learn how to lift. He said, you're lifting, you have to lift with your legs and not with your back. I'm like, lift with my legs. I'm like, okay. So, for years, I was trying to, I guess, master that lift. Like you see weightlifters, and they're lifting with their legs and not with their, and they always have those big belts on, which is, to keep them from, rupturing their back, hernia, this, that, and the other. So I had to master the art of lifting something with my legs and not with my, using my upper body strength instead of, otherwise I wouldn't have had so many kids. Chicago's own Independence, and leaving me right here on Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Our prayers go out to Russell Baker, who recently had back surgery. Um, so I know how painful that is. Just sitting here thinking about it makes my back hurt. For years I've lifted speakers. From the time I was a kid, my dad said you have to lift with your legs and not with your back. He said use your upper body strength. You know, lift some weights and all of that stuff. His nickname for me was Super Dog. Oh, you Super Dog, huh? You just gonna lift that speaker like that, huh? It's like, okay, you're gonna pay for it one day. And guess what? Yeah, that day came. So shake and bake. My advice to you is to take it easy, brother. Take it easy. And our prayers, of course, go out to you for speedy recovery on your back surgery. Because that stuff hurts. Trust me. Um, some people don't make it out of back surgery. It's so close to your spine. So, you know, but once again, we pray for your speedy recovery, bro. And you'll be up shaking and baking in no time. God willing. It's going to happen, though, bro. It's going to take a while, though. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, and this is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep. The greatest love songs of all time. Yep. Our phone number here is 773-675-2400. Here's the great Stevie Wonder and Ribbon in the Sky on Bedtime Stories. Oh, yeah. I used to do, excuse me, I used to do like you do, Pam. The only difference was I used to pick up seniors in a van, and they had to be seated in the van. The van had like both doors open on either side, so some patients had to get in on a certain side because they were paralyzed. So you couldn't put them in the right, the door that always opens on the van, because all of this is paralyzed. So I have to put them in on the driver's side door of the van, which was cool because the van had like, doors on either side. Um, some people had to be seated in the front. I had to help them in. Caregiving. So yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And one morning, and I never will forget this morning, and I will never forget the young lady or the lady. She wasn't young, Mama Moore. I will never forget almost dropping her. We got to the facility so that she could, take uh, her therapy. They would put them on a bike or whatever, or a treadmill for a few minutes, to build up their legs and, strengthen their backs and everything else. And this particular morning, I was helping get out of the van. And somehow I lost footing. And I'm trying to get her out of the van, and people are just standing around looking at me. I'm trying not to drop this lady, right? So I ended up on the ground, but as luck would have it, I didn't hit the ground, but it was like a soft fall, because if I hit the ground too fast, we'd have both been messed up. I would have shattered my coccyx, for those of you who know what that is, my tailbone. Then that would have been, very painful. So I went down slow from it was nothing but God that gave me that upper body strength to just. And then once I got on the ground, then they helped me. Now they saw me struggling with this lady, and she wasn't no little lady. She was a short lady, but she wasn't a little lady. So later on, one one of our people, you know, kind of made a joke out of it. I'm like, next time you pick her up, you old mother. Anyway, but he thought it was very amusing. But through the grace of God and my father's voice, it's like, don't drop her. Don't drop her. Okay. So, I had to learn, and that was a great experience in my life. I had to learn how to um, secure a wheelchair in a van, and I had to learn how to drive, unlike a bat out of hell, in order to keep that wheelchair from tipping in the van. So I learned a lot of stuff about how to how not to drop somebody. This guy, once again, same guy, he was in a wheelchair. He could not move. He could not do anything. So one day I was taking him back in the house, and I once again lost my footing. And there's nothing that anyone can do. You know, his wife, she was older. The kids, they had no strength. And they saw me struggling. And I was like, once again, superhuman strength, 180-pound man in a wheelchair, dead weight, including the wheelchair. Miraculously, I got that wheelchair. It was either down the steps or back in the house because he had like a wheelchair ramp. So, needless to say, I did not drop him. I did not. And they looked at me like, that's us. Because they were Polish. So, in that Polish accent, he's a strong man. Yeah, I'm a strong man. Strong black man, bro. Sis. So I finally got him in the house. And, he couldn't speak or anything else. I said, well, I'll see you whatever day that was, the next day that I was supposed to pick him up. And I turned to walk away, and I turned around and I said, Do widzenia. And they all looked at me like, you speak Polish? Oh my God. The black man speaks Polish. They lost their minds. I said, one of my first jobs was in radio as a producer for the American Polish Hour, which aired at 11 a.m. every Sunday morning on 1370 WLTH. I said, I just sat there and listened to the guy. And he always ended his show by saying, Do widzenia. And that was it. So I think it means go with God or go with or be with peace. But they were very, impressed by me. It's too bad that I stepped down, from my position as, you know, transporter. We saw the resume. We didn't realize you were black. We quickly addressed the problem. Yeah, all right. Anyway, so I wonder. Well, he's probably gone by now. It was several years ago, but you know, but it was those experiences between radio that made me long for being back on the radio, and that made me, I guess, a better person because I could identify with different um, ethnicities. Because it wasn't a long time that I worked for this guy. It was, maybe 6 months, maybe 7 months, and we had different people that we picked up, different, like I said, you know, older white ladies, everybody had, uh, a disability, if you will. And it made me appreciate what I had or what I have. And that is my health. I said, oh, I'll never be like that. But what if I am? What if I am in a wheelchair? What if I am, you know, you know, any of those things, you know? And my thing is, hey, if I am, if it happens, mm, I would lose my mind. Well, I would lose it. Mickey Howard from the south side of Chicago. That is Baby Be Mine, right here on Bedtime Stories. The show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed, but never to sleep, with greatest love songs of all time. With your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Hoping that everybody had a great weekend. I know I did. My weekend was so good. So good. On Friday, I worked a 12-hour shift at WVON. I worked from 6 a.m. until 6 p.m. At 6 o'clock, I crashed on the couch, which is in the for the radio station. Took me a 45-minute power nap. Got up, went around the corner to Williams Inn Pizza, 22nd and Michigan. DJ'd there from 7 until midnight. Only to find out they didn't make enough money to pay me. They said, well, we'll pay you tomorrow for tonight and tomorrow night. I'm like, that's an incentive to come back to work the next day. So, as promised, they paid me for Friday night and they paid me for Saturday night on Saturday night at midnight. I was like, whoo. In the words of my good friend Bobby OJ, may he rest in peace. I love my job. I love my job. I love my job. Is that good, Bobby? Rest in peace, brother. Here's Dionne Warwick on Bedtime Stories. You know, I'd gladly go anywhere you take me. Hey, you. Dorothy Handy Taylor, good morning. Oh, well, good morning, shoot. Good evening. How are you? I said, I miss you on my live. Child, I'll be asleep. You on too late. I'll be asleep by that time. I'm glad that you're on, Dorothy. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. She is the sister of my pastor, Tyrone Handy Sr. And I made a comment to her Sunday. I said, "You never be on my live no more. I don't think you love me no more." you know. And in that voice of her, I be tired. I go to bed early. I'll be tired. Good evening to you too. Thank you. You I guess in about less than 20 minutes she will be asleep. Trust me. You know. You know. I miss her speaking in church. She is her voice carries. She don't even need a mic. You know. I see where her little brother gets it from. He done burnt out 2 sound systems since we left off of 51st Street. Oh no. Oh, 2 sound systems. Sure. Anyway, once again, thank you, Dorothy. I appreciate it. I really do. I really do. So, okay. People send me these TikTok videos. I'm like, girl, put some clothes on. Nobody want to see them things but me. I love you too, Dorothy. She said something to me one day. She said it in front of my first wife. See, you should have married me. I couldn't do nothing. I was like froze. Like, she said, I'm just playing. I said, no, you ain't. Oh, no. Mm-hmm. I'm like, last thing I need to be is in the Handy family. Not saying there's anything wrong with that, but it's just interesting because when I first um, joined the church, I'm like, is everybody here related? You know, here you here you got the pastor, and one of the deacons is his nephew, and his brother was another deacon. So you got Pastor Handy, Demetrius, who is his nephew. Um, what's Oz's name? Oscar, who is Demetrius's brother. Mr. and Mrs. Silas, who Mr. Silas, his mother-in-law is Mother Richardson. Uh, Her daughter is Barbara Jean Richardson. His wife is Deborah Richardson Silas. I'm like, is everybody here related? Good Lord. I'm like, and of course, Demetrius and Michelle, their 2 daughters, basically grew up in the church. They were like, little. And, they're just as tall as their parents now. And it's like, okay, is everybody here related? Really? Okay. You know, he's married to her. She's a missionary, Barbara Jean. Um, let's see, who else was related there? Mother Fanny, she's just, everybody's mother, Fanny. Mother Holloway, whom we don't see anymore. So on and so forth. Everybody, they all know each other. They're all in each other's families. And then all of Dorothy's kids come, and it's just, those are the uh, nephews, cousin, nieces, of the pastor. It's like I just feel like the odd man out. I ain't related to nobody. you know, I tried to get my first and second wife to come to church with me. The first wife, she came for a while, and then she was like, "Well, that's your church. I don't find my own." I'm like, uh, "We married. You found your church. Your church is right here with me." So she started going to another church. I'm like, "Oh well, do your thing. As long as you get in the word, I don't care where you are." But it would have been nice if she had stayed in church with me. So, but that's what happens, right? A house divided. That is Luther Vandross, and So Amazing. Before that, Dionne Warwick, and So Amazing. Luther made a whole career out of doing other people's songs. So I guess he returned the favor by writing Dionne a song that she could sing that he would eventually take back. The original version of So done by none other than Dionne Warwick. Luther, in turn, re-recorded the song that he wrote for her and put it on one of his albums. He has done a total of, I've lost count. House is Not a Home, Anyone Who Had a Heart. I mean, he has done all of Dionne's songs all over again, all of them. The first time he performed House is Not a Home in front of Dionne, she was like, "Did I make that?" Then he took Aretha Franklin songs, "Till You Come Back to Me." Took that. I'm like, "Go on, Luther." And then he borrowed one from the Temptations, "Since I Lost My Baby." I'm like, "You go, Lou. Lou, you did that." Once he told this song, you really don't want it back. You really don't want it back. He didn't put his mouth all over it and stuff. You don't even want it. He just all over it. Like, no, you just keep that one. All right. Here are the Tramps, Season for Girls. Hello to Dorothy Handy Taylor. She said, "In God's eyes, we are all one body in Christ. So that makes us all related." All right, sis. All right, sis. Let me post that. Hold on. Leave that up there. There we go. I'm leaving that up there. That makes us all related. All right, fam. Mm-mm. I'm gonna leave that up there. That was profound. But I used to love it when Dorothy would get up there and do her testimony. "I almost lost my kids. I got my kids back. I was on that crack cocaine, but I told the Lord, if you give me my kids back, I'll know." She went on and on. I was like, she had me in tears. I was like, "Please stop, stop." She kept, "What do you say, Ronnie? You can't claim me." Whatever. Mm-mm-mm. But it's certain people when they speak in church that don't normally speak. They they tug at your heart. You never hear them speak, and then all of a sudden, I the only thing I do is read the announcements in church, and that's the first service that I go to all the time, Dorothy, all the time. So when certain people speak in church and that don't normally speak in church, then it's like they really have a testimony. Now, Mother Richardson, she always has a testimony, always. But it's those that don't speak, and they said, I got something to say. Like one Sunday, the drummer, he got up there and spoke. I'm like, oh, okay. You know, this is a young guy too. So, once again, um, some days in church, I am just zonked out from the first service that I have to go to, which is at 9 o'clock in the morning after working 5 hours slaving over a hot turntable. There you go. Of course, we don't use turntables anymore. But, you know, by the second service, I'm a little bit more charged up because I would have, left one church, went home, took a nap, and then got up and got up to go to the next church. So I just hate that we're so far away. I wish we were still on 51st Street. That would have been cool because, it's right up the street from the house. That would have been like, but it usually doesn't take me that long to get to the second church, which is on, what is that, 100 and, 99th and, 99th and Winston. So it ain't that bad. Now let me put a little color in my cheeks. Wait a minute. There we go. Yeah, the bronze effect. Yes. But, when I first started going to church at Build Up, it was, we were originally on 77th in Maryland. And that church was up for sale. And they tried to sell it to Pastor Handy, but they just wanted too much money for that church. Beautiful facility and everything else, but they just, wanted too much for it. I think we moved from there to the church at 51st Street. We moved there. Then we were at 102nd and King Drive. 108th and King Drive, across the street from Mendel, of all places. The school that I went to, for high school, my freshman year. And we moved from there, and then now we're on 99th and Winston. So, yep. She said, I remember you always sat in the back row low key. Yes, I did. I would slip into church because at that time, when we were on 77th and Maryland, I had just gotten off the air at I think 5 o'clock in the morning. And I think service started in the afternoon, which was cool for me because I could go home, take a nap, and get back up and go to church. And yes, I would always sit in the back. And then finally one day, I joined the church. Probably one of the best decisions I made. But it wasn't based on faith. I got to tell you guys the truth. Because, because I don't lie. You say the devil's a liar, not this one. I actually joined the church because I thought that someone else wanted me to join church. And after they told me what they told me, I was like, well, that's okay. Because I ended up where I was supposed to be. And that was back in church. Because I had, for years, I, joined church after church only to stop coming or stop going. Because I seemed to have a problem with the people who were in church because I thought they were phony. So when I started going to Build Up and found that everybody was family, I said, well, maybe, maybe this is it. Because to be honest, ooh, wind is high. To be honest, I joined church because I was chasing a girl. I was, I ain't gonna lie. I was chasing a girl. And how many people know, God works in mysterious ways, right? After I doing God's work, yes. After I joined the church, she stopped coming. She said, "What you think? We was gonna sit together at church?" No. Like, dang. I was like, okay, yeah, we ain't calling no names. Have you found a church that gives away money instead of taking it from people? It seems God will be more likely to give away money rather than to take it. Okay, Troy. Pastor Troy, there you go. But anyway, I was chasing a girl. And I chased the girl into church. I got into church and the doors locked behind me. It's like, ha, I got you back where I needed you. And that was it. That was some 12, 13 years ago. And 12, 13 years, two wives later, you know, I'm still with Pastor Tyrone Handy to this day. I even had a godfather who had his own church, and his church was on 67th and 67th and Halstead. Unfortunately, he passed. Bishop W. Jackson, William W. Jackson. And I met him while working at America in Hyde Park. And he said, "You should come to my church." I'm like, "Man, I ain't going to nobody's church. I'm not interested." He said, you might hear something you like, Brother Greer. Don't knock it till you try it. Come on out. And if you don't like it, you don't have to come back. I said, okay, I'm going to go to your church. I'm going to come to your church. I went to his church. What you say, Dorothy? You ain't going nowhere else. You got that right. And he came out and he just started preaching. I was like, I looked and I heard him. And I was like, is this the same guy that comes into Ameritech? He had matching hats and everything else. If he had on a purple suit, he had on a purple hat and purple shoes. Everything was matching. And he came out in that robe and he started singing and preaching. I'm like, after service, I was like, certain people are born to preach. I said, you are that person, and he quickly became my godfather, only to, pass a few years later. But he had, he had that voice for preaching, and I still have some of his recordings of him preaching. But I never. I'd never been moved by certain people who preached. I heard Maceo Woods preach. I've been around some of the greats, Maceo Woods, Clay Evans, and I heard them preach. Stephen Thurston, Reverend Meeks. But William W. Jackson, oh my God. I mean, he brought the fire. I was like, man, you were born to preach. Calling All Girls from Switch. Before that, Season for Girls from Uncle Earl and the Tramps right here on Bedtime Stories. With your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time, is Bedtime Stories, sponsored by our good friends over at Grubhub. Mm-mm, mm-mm. Da-da-da-da. Get the food you love with perks from Grub, which you love. Grubhub is a proud sponsor of Bedtime Stories on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis, and of course, the best music of your life.com and WRLNradio.com, which is both of those are radio stations. I don't know which one I'm on. I'm confused. I know I'm on one of them, if not both, at the same time. I'm greedy. Anyway, it's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Once again, hello to Dorothy Handy Taylor and Ronnie. I don't know where Ronnie went, but I'm sure she's in there somewhere. She came down to Williams and Pizza on Saturday, and I really appreciate it because, I try to invite everybody down there. I post pictures every week, and nobody I know, hey, Katrina, what's going on, sis? It's like everybody that I invite down there, nobody comes. I think I had people to come down there maybe twice. Ralph Liggins and Chef Gray came down there once. And then the day of my birthday party, everybody else, kind of tagged and followed me down there that night. But after that, nobody that I know has been down there to support me. And I understand, I understand. It's like, okay, first of all, it's in the South Loop. You have to find somewhere to park, and, the food is a little expensive, but it's good. The atmosphere is wonderful. And of course, the music by myself is pretty nice. I think so. A mixture of today's and yesterday's music, some throwbacks, as the kids call it, from the 90s. So 2210 South Michigan Avenue. Williams and Pizza is also a proud sponsor of Bedtime Stories. What's up to Jamal and the whole crew down there on 22nd and Michigan in the South Loop? On Motor Row. Here's the first of two in a row. Speaking of rows, here's Angela Winbush on Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Yeah, that whole parking situation, I get it. But Katrina, thank you. I'd like to see you in my extended family, the Whirlies. So yeah, if you all aren't doing anything, you, Kelly, um, yeah, bring everybody, Kevin, everybody. But like I said, I understand. Parking is not the best down there. Um, and Arnell and Ted, yeah. um, and I totally understand. I totally get it, totally. So, but I like to myself support others, and in turn, I'd like to be supported sometime myself. And that's it. So that's all I'm going to say about that. So if you guys can make it, cool. If you can't, once again, I understand. You know, I'm like the Dangerfield of radio. I tell you, I get no respect at all. You know, but every now and then, I would like to see people come down there. I really appreciate Ronnie for coming down there on Saturday. It's always good to, like I said, see people that I know to come down there. Besides Alderman Stephanie Coleman, she she is she's special. She is special, and that's all I'm going to say about that. She um she said, "Al, I've been carrying around your birthday present." I said, I see that. I'm like Smokey. You are my present, you know. And it's unfortunate, I guess, for me. Certain people, um, certain people that I know that I've seen, I'll be like, man. Certain people that I would see, I'd be like, man, she would make a great mate. And there are only a few, and I look for, I don't know what I look for, because there's no such thing as a perfect woman. And guys, search forever for the perfect woman. But I will say this: the two wives that I've had, to me, you know, were perfect, but as perfect as you can get. Um, and then there are others. Um, I mean, I can say their names because they don't listen to me anyway. They just don't. Um, Darlene Hill, formerly of Fox 32. I think she is extremely, extremely attractive. Um, Stephanie Coleman is another one. Um, so on and so forth. There have been several women that I've seen that I thought were just, you know, I'm like, I I just love to see her feet. You see how? Yes, unfortunately, I am Marcus Graham from Boomerang. I'm just a stickler for feet. Like I said, both of my wives, no corns, none of that stuff. Just feet. And I know that might sound weird to some people, but every man that I know has a certain part of a woman that they like. Some men like, women who are busty. I'm one of them. Big big derrieres, that whole thing, small waist, wide hips, that whole thing. I remember watching one morning um, Darlene Hill on Channel 32. And usually, she'd be sitting behind the desk, like, she's anchor woman. So she'd be sitting behind the desk. Well, they decided they were going to have them to stand next to the green screen and do certain stories. And when I saw her stand up, I was like, that's a woman right there. I don't care what she had on to hold everything in and to push it in and to let it flow. And I was like, now that's a woman. So when I got the chance to finally meet her, which was at no, it wasn't even at WVO, and it was before then. I saw her at the African Fest one year, and I was with my wife at the time. And she nudged me. She said, "There go your girl." My girl, who? What are you talking about? My girl standing next to me. That's you, Darlene Hill. Like, okay. Ain't you gonna try to talk to her? No, I'm with my wife. Why would I go talk to some other woman and I'm with my wife? You know. Go on over there and talk to her. You know you want to. I got Darlene's attention. I said, I would like to take a picture with you, take a selfie. She said, well, I'll be back. I'm going to, check out some stuff here at the fest, but when I come back, I'll take a picture with you. I said, oh, okay. So I went back over to my wife. I said, she said she'll be back, and uh-huh. She kept looking, uh-huh, look me up and down to see, and I tried to keep the straightest face that I could. Like, what are you talking about? I know that's your girl. You be sitting there watching her in the morning when I'm getting dressed to go to work. I said, yeah, she's on TV and you're in the bedroom with me. So, but if I had a chance, if I had a chance, then I would ask her out. But it's like certain women you look at, it's like she wouldn't go out with me. Alderman Coleman, nah, she wouldn't go out with me. Nah. This lady who was running for judge, um, I said, nah, she wouldn't go out with me. Certain. It's like, okay, I'm out of my league, or at least in my mind, I'm out of my league because I don't have that, that oomph that I think I had back in the day. When I was on GCI, it was like I didn't have to say anything. It was like, hey, you know who I am, right? I had to say nothing. Say my name, say my name, and that was it. You know. But I guess as I got older, I reverted back to that teenager, that awkward teenager. Whenever I see a pretty girl, I just, I just, I melt. I just lose it. You know, but that's just me. Once again, like the girl that I was chasing into the church. I didn't think I had a chance with her, and it just happened that she knew who I was. So that made it easier to date her. You know, plus the fact that she thought I was a celebrity. It made it cool. It was like, oh, she digging on me. Okay, cool. All right, that was up. That was what's up. So, but whew. Darlene Hill, of course, is sitting in on the afternoon show, which is the show that I'm the technical producer for. So I get to see her every day. You best believe I'm in there sweating bullets. Angela Wynn, she wrote from her, I've learned to respect the power of love. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Hello to Katrina Worley, my sister from another mister. Once again to Dorothy Handy Taylor, thank you so much. I was telling them about women that I think that are perfect, and of course I have to exclude my two wives whom I thought were perfect. You know, they were drop dead gorgeous. You know, I was like, I'm not just gonna marry just anybody. You know, they got to be, you know, they got to be hot. And sure enough, my boys tried to shoot their shot with my women, and you know, I don't mind. Some guys will be mad that you know their boys tried to make a play for their woman. It's like, you know, my thing is, hey, I guess I got good taste. So otherwise they wouldn't want to see them, right? I'm just saying. Some men look at that as disrespect. To me, it was a compliment. I'm like, so you really think my wife is cute, huh? Oh man, I'm not. I wasn't looking at your wife. And, okay, you know. I said, watch this when she walks away. Look, watch the way she walks. Man, I can't look at your. Oh man, your wife. Ooh, she got a walk on her. I told you. It's okay. I ain't mad at you. Because the thing is, I get to see her walk all the time. You know, from the job to the car when I pick her up, from the house, from the car, from the garage to the house, I get to watch her walk. When she gets out of the shower in the morning, I get to watch her walk. So this one time, you know, it's a freebie. You know, you get to watch her walk, but this one time, I get to watch her walk all the time. So that's cool. But anyway, for those young ladies that I think that are just drop dead gorgeous, Alderman Stephanie Coleman, Darlene Hill, this one is for you ladies. Because every time I see a pretty lady, I just lose it. All my cool is just blown, baby. Go round. Anyway, excuse me, I got to go to the bathroom and get another bottle of water here. And he's back. Good God. Here I be, and here I stay. Yep. Yep. The one lady that I chased in the church, I'm like, I never thought I had a chance. But I think that one time my ego had kicked in. I don't think I've had an ego since then. I don't know. As I remember when I met my first wife, it was at my birthday party that year. And it was all by, what do they say, happenstance that I met her. It just happened to be a stepper set that night. And she was a stepper, and I saw her, and something clicked that night. Um, and my ego kicked in that night. I was like, come on over to the table. Would you like some of my cake? What's your name again? You know, one thing led to another, and eventually we got married. That was the first wife. The second wife, yeah, she used to come to the club I worked at. I worked at a club called the 66 on 66 and Western. Uh, for those of you who are old enough to remember that, it was owned by two ladies who saved up their money doing other things and ended up buying a club. And that club, of course, was called originally it was called the 66 Club. But due to a misspelling, it became the Sexty Sex. So they kept it like that, the Sexty Sex, yes, on 66 and Western. Had a lot of good times in that particular club. I met a whole bunch of people. Um, I mean, when I say I met a whole bunch of people, some people who shouldn't have even been there. There was this reverend. I'm not going to say his name, but may he rest in peace. He used to be a frequent visitor there at the at the club. A pastor at the club. I ain't mad at you. Okay, they like to get their groove on too. Dorothy said I went there years ago. Yeah, that was one of the places I used to DJ at. I met my goddaughter's mother there. I met my future wife there. That was some 20 some years ago. Excuse me. So I've DJed some of everywhere, and I've met a lot of people. I remember I was DJing in Hyde Park one night, and I saw this young lady. She just kept, she had to go past me to get to the bathroom. She kept going to the bathroom. Finally, I spoke to her. I said, look, how many times are you going to pass me without speaking? She's like, I didn't know I was supposed to speak to you. You're the DJ. People look down at DJs for some strange reason. I don't know what it is. Some ladies do. Not saying everybody does, but I get more high fives and what's up from guys on Friday and Saturday at Williams and Pizza than I do the young ladies. They walk past me like they don't even see me. I'm like, I'm sitting on a platform, and it's like they just stroll past me. I'm like, okay. I'm like, keep walking. And I laugh because I think it's funny. I really think it's fun. I'm like, are you trying that hard not to speak to me or not to look at me? I'm like, they're like, okay. Or maybe that's just me. Maybe they just don't see me, or they don't think anybody's standing up there, or they just think that, I'm just up there for nothing because I never really say anything. I don't talk when I'm there. So, sometimes it gets to me, and other times it's like, well, you know, they don't know any better. It's like, okay, you can't speak, or they'll look at me and like what kind of game are you playing with yourself? You know, and that's most of the coworkers. I'm like, they know I'm there. Some of them some of them will speak to me. Some of the waitresses, you know, you know, right? Who's the old guy? I know, right? Yeah. So, like I said, sometimes it actually, sometimes it bothers me. Other times it's like, are they trying to ignore me? Is that what it is? What kind of game are they playing? So, once again, plus I don't look like any DJ that they really know. I guess if I was, 6'2" and had blonde hair and a blonde beard like Farley, I guess they would come up to me and speak to me. But and I was like, well, maybe it's the way I'm dressing that they think, that I'm about to bust out and play some blues or something. I said, so I changed my wardrobe for Saturday. No, because usually I'll have on a vest, which is from the suit jacket and matching pants and all that stuff. I said, well, let me just dress down and go to work. Maybe, and still, I just look like the old guy that's dressed down. So I'm like, okay, never mind. Never mind, you know, because the average age of the people who come up there is like, they're in their mid 40s. So if they remember me from GCI, it's because their parents were were listening to me, when they basically had them. But like I said, I try not to let it, get to me. Like, okay, it's cool. So, but what you say? Who's the old guy? I know, right? So I just keep it moving. I just keep it moving. Um, so you know, back in the day, I guess I got all the attention I was gonna get. And now it's like, who's the old guy? Yeah, like Ronnie said, who's the old guy? So it is what it is, and I try not to look like the lecherous old man that you know, like, hey, young girl, come here, let me talk to you, And I got asked this question, excuse me, a few weeks ago. Lady asked me, why don't you date someone your own age? I said, what a novel idea. I can't get them my age or younger or older or whatever, older maybe, yeah. Like a 70-year-old woman would date me because she's trying to be a cougar. So it is what it is. Ken Watlington, what's going on, sir? Phil Perry and the Whispers and Pretty Lady. Before that, Gemini and Every Time I See a Pretty Lady. Chipina Butter Brother Dr. Al Greer. Hello to Ken Watlington. Thank you so much for joining me on my live. Pam Hawkins as well, out there on the highways and byways doing that lift thing. Pam said something to me that was very profound, and I didn't think a young lady of her age would say that to me because of everybody else who has, I guess, turned their backs on me, as it were. She said something to me. She said, age ain't nothing but a number. I'm like, I know that, but you got to tell the other young ladies that age ain't nothing but a number. It's not like I'm trying to date somebody who is young enough to be my daughter. I'm not trying to do that. I have a type and not a age requirement, if you know what I'm saying. I have a type. My thing is, as long as they're over 21, then, that's the age requirement. And of course, a certain weight, because I like my women, like I'm kind of thick. That's just me. I'm just saying, dog don't want a bone. So there. Somebody asked me, what are you looking for in a woman? I said, simply, C's and D's, no A's and B's, please. I don't like a lot of women. I like a lot of women. If you ain't at least 180, you ain't no lady. And of course, I insulted a whole bunch of people who were smaller and chests were flatter. They just got mad at me, boy, I tell you. Don't be mad. Don't be mad. Just put some pads in your bra. Here's Morris Day in the Time. I'm sorry, C's and D's, no A's and B's, please. That's what I like, you know. And I think that's all stemming from when I was younger because I had these very busty aunts and they would hug me, come here, boy. And they, face be all smashed and they breastises. My Aunt Evelyn, my Aunt Fanny, they were all, just busty women. Yeah. I assume I didn't miss yet another story about young women not wanting to date Al or refusing to go to breakfast with him. No, you missed that story. Sorry, you didn't miss it. you didn't miss it, Troy. But it's like I don't purposely look for someone who is younger. I don't see age. Unless she's got this like really baby face. I'm like, how old are you? Like there's a young lady I work with. She's like 25 years old and she looks it. She looks every bit 25. Would I date her? Absolutely not. She looks every bit her age. And there are others who, don't look their age and they're my age, but they won't date me. So, I'm like, and I've said this once and I'll say it again. Dating sucks. It's not the way it used to be. I invited a young lady out to breakfast, Troy. And she said simply, I'm not ready to date. Well, I didn't know this was going to be a date. They just assume that if we're going out, it's for a date. I said, no, we're going out for a meal. My thing is, if I take my son out to breakfast, is it a date? If I take my daughter out to breakfast, is it a date? If I go to lunch with, you know, a brother or a sister, is that considered a date? So finally, I got the young lady to see it my way. You know, it's not a date. I just ask you to go out and have a meal with me. You can call it what you want. Of course, you're not paying for the meal, so it shouldn't be a big deal. Ooh, that rhymed. So, you know, that was my whole thing. It's like it's not a, how can I put it? It's not really a date. Yes, they're all dates, and that's why your family tree doesn't fork. But anyway, so that's it. I mean, the last, okay, you could say the last date I went on was with my son on his birthday. Was that a date? You know, and that's, to me, that doesn't constitute a date. I might be wrong. This is 2023, and young ladies are looking at age. And something happened in the dating scene. Something happened in this whole dating thing. And I don't know. So most of the time, I guess I just, how can I put it? And I try to justify it, which I guess makes it even worse because I tried to justify going out with them. And one young lady just came straight out and asked me, "How old are you?" I'm like, what does my age have to do with me spending money on you to take you out to eat? You know, I was like, wow, how old are you? And I told her, I said, if that's a problem, then okay, then maybe I'm talking to someone who's immature. Because if you have to ask me how old I am, then that means that, um, how can I put it? That you're looking for something totally different than what I'm looking for. And I get that. I understand, you're not quite ready to date an older man. You'd rather date someone that is on your own level as opposed to someone who could possibly teach you something. You didn't believe me when I told you that I was 47. No, I did not. Absolutely not. First of all, you look younger than 47. Second of all, I didn't think you would ever talk to my old butt. you know, And that's just it, you know. I'm surprised when a young lady even gives me the time of day. And I'm disappointed at those that won't give me the time of day. You know, and that's just it. It's like, okay, I'm asking you not to go out on a date, but to go out and have a meal and a conversation. I mean, I could take my own self out to breakfast. Don't get me wrong. You know, I don't have no problem. Play some Duran Duran. I know, right? You know, I don't have no problem going out and treating myself to breakfast. I've done it many times. There's this place over on 75th, right off of Exchange, that I've sat in many a morning by myself and sat there like I was Denzel Washington and what was that movie? American Gangster. And I sit up there all dressed up, you know. You just saved yourself a headache later on down the road. Yeah, I know, I get it, but you know, like everyone else, I would like to, you know, to have some company. I'm like everybody else. I'm not looking to you know, to get married again. At least not right now. I'm not looking for that. You know, been there, done that. At this point, I'm just looking for companionship, and that's it. You know, it would be nice to have someone, you know, you know, to call and tell them how my day was, or to call them and let them tell me how their day was. That's it. That's all. You know, somebody that I could, you know, be on the phone with. And I, you know, and I miss that. I miss having that companionship that I had when I was married. Silly me, right? Two in a row from the time, from the album Pandemonium. That is Sometimes I Get Lonely. And before that, from the album What Time Is It? She'll also get lonely too. Guess I'm trying to send out a message tonight. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. For those people who are watching me on Facebook right now, do me a favor. Where it says like, comment, and share, just hit share right now. I'm trying to do an experiment. So I can't give you any money for doing it, but if you can, you know, just hit share and just see what happens. Ronnie said, you saved yourself from a headache later on down the road. And I was talking about, you know, dating younger women. And I guess she says, you know, they may not be what you want them to be, you know. They are, you know, and I watch these young ladies when I'm at Williams and Pizza, and they sit up and all they do is take selfies of themselves. I'm like, okay. So that's where their minds are at. So you might be right about that headache thing, you know. You might be right about that headache thing. You know, the selfies, and you know, they just into themselves, and you know, they want a man to take care of themselves, to take care of them, right? How about we take care of each other? What a concept. Greg Beasley, female energy must be properly managed. I like that. I like that, Greg. But it's just interesting. It's both interesting and frustrating at the same time. So I'm like, okay, what's really going on? What's really going on in their minds? Um, I saw I don't know if you guys watch reruns of Girlfriends. Well, there was an episode on there where Melvin Van Peebles was dating Tracy Ellis Ross's um, character, and you know, she was like, "How old are you?" And she went in his medicine cabinet looking for the Viagra, and all she found was uh, medicine for his high blood pressure, and that was it. You know, Ken said, "I bought my house in 1991. I have been living here by myself for over 30 years, and I'm content and happy." That's you, Ken. you know, uh, I wish I could say the same thing. I've been here since July. Coming up on it'll be another year in July that I've been here. And I'm sorry, I don't like it. You know, I'm in this big old apartment. This is probably the biggest apartment I've ever been in, besides the one on 61st and Laughlin, which belonged to my aunt. This has got to be the biggest apartment. I mean, you could practically get lost in this apartment. It's so big. And my thing is that if men were meant to live alone, then God would not have created Eve for him. And I believe that every man needs a mate. Now, I know this is 2023. I get that. And, things have changed since, the 60s and 70s, you know. But a mate is a mate. I'm just saying, thank you, Pam. Everybody is meant to be with somebody. And I will admit, when I was younger, I had a lot of bodies. It's not good for man to be alone. That's biblical. And I agree with that wholeheartedly. If anything I agree with in the Bible is that right there. Very funny, Troy. You know, if I could have done it all over again, I probably would have gotten married earlier. But then I probably would have cheated on my wife because I wasn't ready. I had female friends. I had women that like the kids say, that I smashed. Dorothy said, "I'm happy not having a man, but having a friend with benefits, I'll be happy to." And that's all I'm saying, Dorothy. That's all I'm saying. It would be nice to have companionship. And no, I'm not going to buy a dog or get a cat. No, I want someone, a nice warm body laying next to me every now and then. And that's just me, you know. That's what I'm looking at. That's what I'm looking for. And it would just be nice. Ronnie, okay, finally we agree, Ronnie. It would be nice. When I married my second wife, she was my best friend because we had talked way before we got married. So she was my friend first. My first wife, that was a whole different story. We didn't develop a friendship enough to withstand a marriage. Let me say that again, because that was profound. We didn't develop a friendship strong enough to withstand a marriage. Some people could date for years and still not be married. Why? Different circumstances. Some of them could still be married, and they're just, you know, for one reason or another, their marriage is not working. And that's it. So their marriage is not working. So they have found someone else to be friends with benefits. And that's all it is these days. Put dating into the equation, then it becomes more of what it really is. Steve Harvey said once, he said, can can you be friends with someone of the opposite sex? I don't see why not. Bonnie and I have known each other for years. She sure as hell doesn't look at me that way, like, hey, bro, hey, bro. Nope, it doesn't happen. Marriage changes the relationship dynamic, sometimes for the worst. You're absolutely right, Greg. My first marriage, once again, we did not form a friendship that would Slick Vic that would withstand test of time, that would carry on into marriage, and that was it. You know, the bottom line was I didn't really know her. I didn't know her at all. I was getting to know her. And once I got to know her, it was pretty much too late. I'd already said I do, and I shouldn't have. The bottom line was I should have dated her longer than I did because I really didn't know her and she didn't know me. If she knew that I would never hurt her, she would have done what she did. So that's it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes you get married at a young age and it works. It works. You all get along famously. Sometimes it actually works. And then other times, no, it doesn't. It'll work sometime, up the road. One of those, I love you, but I don't like you. Exactly, Greg. My first wife, I liked her a lot. And I think what made me so angry was I felt embarrassed because I had this big buildup on Facebook. I said, no, this is the real royal wedding right here. And then when it failed, I felt like that I had failed. You know, there was a joke that Robin Harris told one time. He said, people ask me why I wear my ring on the wrong finger. I said, because I married the wrong damn woman. But sometimes we do that. If you notice in the movie Boomerang, Eddie was with, you know, the Robin Givens character, and he should have been with Holly Berry, right? You know, sometimes women have your best interests at heart, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're on their own. They're on their own agenda of what they can get out of you. But to borrow a song title, ain't understanding mellow when you both can come together on the same level with the same goal in mind, not to get something from the other person, or take from another person, from that other person, but to go out and get money from them, from the whites, from the other folks. Let's start a business together. Let's buy a building together. Let's build something together and not have others tear it down. If that voice sounds familiar, that of course is Gerald Austin of the Manhattans. At one point, he went solo and he made that song, Take Me Where You Want to Go. I was like, wow. I'm like, who's the new artist? And then I looked, I'm like, wait a minute, is he with Manhattans? It's called Take Me Where You Want to Go from Gerald Austin of the Manhattans. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories. Hello to Greg Beasley and also to Slick Vic Jackson. Thanks for joining me on my Facebook Live. Like I said earlier, for those of you who are on my Facebook Live right now, all you have to do where it says like, comment, and share, just hit share. I'm trying to do an experiment to see how many people are really paying attention to me. Not too many. But anyway, this is Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep with the greatest love songs of all time. Sponsored by our good friends over at Grubhub. Grubhub, of course, is a proud sponsor of Bedtime Stories. Here on WOSD Radio DB Chicago, WDLB Indianapolis in Chicago, which is bigsradio.com, as well as WRLNradio.com, which is a radio media station. We're heard on all three stations simultaneously, which means the same time. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. Slick Vic said, be careful what you pray for. God put people in your life for different seasons and different reasons. You can love your mate more than you love God. Change for God and not for love. You're absolutely right, Vic. I tried to change for my first wife. And it was like, no, let me, and I tried to show her what a real man was, but Troy wasn't available. But anyway, it's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. It's time for foreplay. I don't play this artist enough on my show. He started out, I guess he's been in the business some 20, almost 30 years now. And he has this tremendous voice. And I think that he should have been further than what he is, having this tremendous voice, kind of like mine. Tonight we feature in foreplay Mr. Will Downing. This is No One Can Love You More, originally done by Phil Simon on Bedtime Stories. No one can tell me that I'm pretending. Anyway, so my thing is, and it's like Greg said, and of course it's biblical, that no man should be by himself. And I believe that, you know. Once again, I believe that I've gone through all the women that I'm going to have. And most of them that I'm talking to now, either they're not interested, that whole thing. Yep, Mr. Downing has a great voice. I'm trying, that's another song by Will Down. I Can't Make You Love Me. We'll play that one. I can't make you love me. Where's that one? There it is. I can't make you love me. So, the thing is, and then I'm going to go fix my midnight snack if you're on the East Coast. Um, a wise man told me once that I did his wedding reception, Mr. Harold Nathan. He said, I've been married 3 times. This will be my third marriage. He said, the first time I married because I had to. The second of all, because the second marriage was because I wanted to. He said, the third one was for my health. I said, your health? He said, married couples live longer. And at his age, he's trying to live longer. He also said that he didn't want to, if God forbid something happened to him, he said he didn't want to die in the house alone. He would hope that his wife would be with him. So, so I'm like, I feel you, brother. I feel you. He said the first time he had to get married, I guess because his then wife was pregnant. So it was like a shotgun wedding. Second, he just wanted to get married. And then the third, he said for his health. I said, okay, I get it. I understand. I totally understand. I totally get it. And I'm at that age right now that, it's for my health. I don't think my heart can take too much more. So anyway, excuse me while I warm up my dinner. I'm back. I had to warm up the fries first. No one likes soggy fries. No one. Sorry. He's back. This hour of music is sponsored by Checkers. Not really, but it'd be nice if they were a sponsor. I could get free fish sandwiches. Mmm. Mmm. There's nothing like it. Mama used to say you can make a girl want you. Nope, sure can't. That is absolutely positively true. Although, and that's just it. Men don't believe in courting anymore. My thing is, even after you've gotten this woman to either marry you or to commit to a relationship, a one-on-one relationship, the things that you do to get her are the things that you do to keep her. If you picked her up to go for a drive when you were in the early stages of your relationship, and you got to keep picking her up to go for a drive. You got to keep picking her up to go for a walk. You got to keep picking her up to go to a club and acting like you all don't know each other and try to pick up your own wife or girlfriend. That's it. You know, like I always say, the things that you do to get a woman are the things you do to keep them. And that's it. You know, that's how you keep them. Period. I'm just saying. You know, once you get them, and you got to keep it up in more ways than one. You know, because if you ever keeping it fresh is a must. Thank you. And yeah, that goes for both sides. You can't stop dating once you've gotten somebody. You have to keep finding ways to make it interesting. You have to continue to find ways to define or redefine a relationship, you know, and that's it. You know, when it's no longer fun anymore, then just part ways. But exactly, we had date nights all the time, and that's it. Even if you're married, it's still a date if you go out. But you cannot, fellas, you cannot neglect your wife, your girlfriend, your confidant, your bed buddy, your all the above. Because here's what happens. When you stop doing what you're doing, she's going to stop doing what she's doing. If there's any change in your uh, any change in what you do can be misconstrued as you are cheating. You know, coming home late at night, smelling like, smelling like some perfume that I don't even wear. Heard it all before. And that's it. You have to keep a relationship fresh. You just have to. Otherwise, that's what happens. The little doubt monster comes in and tears the relationship down. And that's what happens. You know, I don't care. Wife, girlfriend, confidant, whatever you call it. You have to keep it going. Like to take a verse from a blues song by Lattimore, you got to keep the home fire burning. You just do. At no point, hey, at no point should you start neglecting that person. Because when you do, they're going to notice that, you're not as attentive as you used to be. We don't go out as often as we used to go out. We don't do the things we used to do when we first started dating. And that's it. Once again, it leads to it leads to that person wondering what happened. Why did this person change on me? Like Greg said earlier, when you get married to a person, the real person comes out. In other words, when you're dating, courting, whatever you want to call it, they always send a representative. It's not really them. And then after they say, I do, then they don't. If I ever get married, I plan on posting large photos throughout our house of our wedding and very important photos of precious memories and moments will be a must. I agree, Ken. I totally agree. Unfortunately, for my first marriage, I deleted all the pictures. I deleted them. And I'll tell you why. My first wife took over my Facebook page. She changed the password on it, changed the name of it. She changed it to non-MF Factor Greer. I guess she thought she was hurting me, right? She would tell people that I was not the person that they thought I was. You know, all this talk about romance and this, that, and the other. She was like, you know, he is not that person. I said, so what am I then? She tried so hard to scandalize my name. She tried so hard. How did she gain access to your FB page? Because Ken, when I got married, I had no secrets. I wasn't hiding anything. I had no lock on my phone. There was no code to get into the computer. There was nothing. Everything was just laid out. I would get off the computer and just walk off. Facebook still, you know, still ablazing. And one day I got a call. I was out with a friend of mine. We were at the flea market, and my wife called me, "You need to come home right away." And she showed me my computer. Well, to be honest, it was on a porn site. She asked me why I was watching porn. Said I've always watched porn. Ever since I got a computer, I've always watched porn. She said, well, you have a wife now. You don't have to watch other naked women. But get this, Ken. She gave me the website to the porn site. But she disapproved of some of the sites that I was watching or some of the porn that I was watching. She just disapproved. Sorry to say that was a fatal mistake, bro. And I hear you, and I understand, and I get it. But then, Ken, I wasn't trying to hide anything. I would have given up my phone and just handed it to her had I known that she wouldn't go through it. And her excuse was, I was just curious. Just curious. Okay. So she was just curious as to what was on my phone. I cannot even tell you. I cannot remember what kind of phone she even had. Because what she had on her phone was none of my damn business. So I had no reason to pick up her phone. I had no reason to check up on her and look at her text messages. I was married, and that was good enough. If there is no trust, then there is no us. But she tried to find fault with me. No guy is that good, is what she said. No guy is that good. What does that mean? What does that say about no guy is that good? You know. So she pushed and she pushed and she prodded like a doctor. She pushed and she prodded until she pushed me into a corner. My mother told her before when we first got married, she said, "Don't push my son to a corner. You will not like him." She said, "Oh, okay, my dear." She tried it anyway. Things were going just too well, so she tried it anyway. You know what it's saying? Stop, look, and listen to your heart. Hear what it's saying. Stop. Four plus one more from Will Downing. That one featuring Gerald Albright on saxophone. And Stop, Look, and Listen to Your Heart, written by the great Tom Bell and Linda Creed, right here on Bedtime Stories, with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, wrapping up foreplay. We're talking about relationships, right? And I was talking about my first marriage, how it didn't work. It didn't work because I didn't know her. Sometimes you have to date a person for at least, and I might be wrong by this, I might be wrong by saying this, at least 3 years in order to know a person. And then after that, you still won't know them until after you've married them. Because how many people know that a woman or man will send a representative of themselves to see how you like them and then change? It's like, well, I thought you liked me. I like that other person that I used to walk on the beach with. I like that other person I used to pick up. I could take my eyes off of when we were dating and looking across the table when we were out. I miss the person that I held hands with that first time when we went to the show. That's the person that I look for or I'm looking for. And that's what happens. They send a representative that's not really them. And then once you get hooked on that person, it's like, it's too late. I got you now. We're in a committed relationship or a marriage. And the only way out is what? Yep. DIRVO. Anyway, divorce. George Duke. I can't spell tonight. George Duke and Stanley Clark is on Bedtime Stories. The fun we used to share. You know what I'm talking about, Ronnie. Mm-mm. They say, I got you now. Huh. You ain't going nowhere. You mine now. So now I'm going to treat you any old way that I want to treat you. You know, either you like me or you don't, but I got you. I got access to your bank account. I know where you work out, all of that stuff. I got you now. I got you. And there's nothing you do now. Oh, I know I learned that once I got to Omaha. Hmm. I will say this, and Vic will probably back me up on this. Vic, I was on my way to Colorado, and you know why. I said to myself, I said, well, there's nothing left here for me, you know, to stay. There's nothing left. You know, failed marriage. My kids are growing up and moving on. I'm in radio. I can find a job anywhere. So I'm going to Colorado to be with Vic. I'm glad that I didn't because I'd have been stuck. I would have either had to come back home or I'd have been stuck there in Colorado by myself. Because once again, how many people know? Well, you may not know, but I'm here to tell you there's something else. Same thing with another person. I was on my way to Minneapolis. I would have probably gotten stuck. I would have been asked to leave, and that would have been it. I'll be right back, guys. I'm back. Once again, you know, once you think you know a person well enough, they always change. Well, not always. Sometimes. Sometimes they change on you. Once the divorce was done in 2019, I just gave me a chance for a fresh start or a new beginning. That's why I stayed. And I understand, Ronnie. That would have been the only reason why I would have stayed in either Colorado or Minneapolis, because of that. I would have said, well, I got me a job here. So I'm going to make the best of it. I'm going to keep my job. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You know. But once again, people send their representative. It's not them. You know, it's like, okay, I got you now. It's like, okay, yep, you got me now. And then you're angry, you know. And it's not so much like, for instance, with guys, you know, you spend so much money on a woman. It's not really about the money. It's more about the time that you spend. And I say that to say this. Money you can always make back. Time you can never get back. You can never get time back. You can make money all you want to. You can make money till you're dead, but you can't get time back. Wasted money, wasted time. Ollie Woodson, formerly of the Temptations, or the late Ollie Woodson, I should say, and my Nana, right here on Bedtime Stories, the show designed with the lovers in mind, where we put you to bed but never to sleep. The greatest love songs of all time. Thank you, Sir John. Let me see who was watching me earlier. Lori TC, Shelly Williams, MKRB, which is my daughter, Makaira, Avis Greer, that's my cousin, Celia Robinson, who won't talk to me anymore, Chiffon Miller, Fred Reed, he is one of the musicians at the church. Besides myself, Jeanette Bates, and of course, Slick Vic Jackson. Thank you so much. Anyway, like we were talking about earlier, people usually send a representative of themselves. It's not really the way they are. They send a representative. And then what happens, you know, once they've changed, you know, what happened? We were, you know, we were getting along so well. You were getting along well with their representative. That's what you want. Yeah, that's what you got. It's like, what happened? You know, like the song says, "Where is the love?" And then you'll be singing this song, "Bring your love back," or "Bring back your love," I should say. Here's Glenn Jones, "My Brother in My Head," and "Bring Back Your Love" on Bedtime Stories. Seems unreal, but it's safe. And go back to him because it didn't work. Well, wow. You were wrong. Mhm. Bring back your love, girl. So come on. Don't wanna. Like, who is this person you have become? Where was that person at when we were sitting across from each other at the breakfast table or in the restaurant? What happened to that person? You're looking at them. All right. So you're looking at that person right now. That song makes you cry. Me too. Hard to find. Bring back your love, girl. Just take my hand and don't let it go. It's all right. Woo! Tyler Glenn. Oh, come on. My past behind. Mm-hmm. Boom, boom, boom. Whew. That song gets me too. Me too. Ken. Glenn. The finale of a sinful was right here. Ooh, you're my whole world. Ooh, that song makes me weak. I want you. I need you right here with me. It's supposed to be. Yes, it is. It's all right. Yes, Glenn. Woo! Woo! All right, Dorothy, thank you. Thank you for staying up with me, Dorothy. I appreciate it. It got to me too, Ken. It got me. I'm like, I can get through this. I can get through this. I can do this. I can do it. But when it got to the end, oh man, I lost it. I'm with you, Glenn, Ken. I was like, I can make it through this song. Mm-mm. I got to the very end, and then he started climbing the scale on like like a Baptist preacher, boy. I tell you, he was killing it. You know, he started it off so sweet. We fell in love so suddenly, and then towards the end, he's just screaming. I'm like, mm. Good night, Ken. Oh, he's saying good night to Dorothy. Thank you. But yeah, it was like, whoo, I was all right. God bless you too, Dorothy. It almost like Glenn took off the choir robe and said, "Look, you gonna listen to me, girl." You know, he started it off like any other prayer. I thank you all for joining us this afternoon, and we appreciate you. He started real soft, real smooth, and then towards the end, he's like, a love like ours is so hard to find, and he keeps it up. Just keeps. It's like he's hitting every spot, every note. I'm like, whoo! I didn't think I was gonna make it, boy. Whoo! I remember Glenn Jones performing. Not 15 minutes with Sid McCoy. Thank you, John. Not from where I am now. There was a good night, Ronnie. Stage setup where the then alderman of this ward, Miss Joanne Thompson, had Glenn Jones to perform. I've been searching for so long. Whoo! I'm like, nobody. I'm like, good grief. Where has he been? Glenn Jones wailing on the guitar too. I know. Glenn was that night, man, there was not a dry eye in the house. It was just him singing. From the album Give Me the Night by George Benson, produced by Quincy Jones, written by Rod Temperton, formerly of Heatwave, that is Turn Out the Lamplight, right here on Bedtime. The Peanut Butter Brother, Dr. Al Greer, or as John Caldwell likes to call me, Sid McCoy. Nowhere near Sid. Sid was in a class all by himself. It's your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer. This is Bedtime Stories. Before that, Glenn Jones and Bring Back Your Love, which is one of those songs that I and I listened to the way through because towards the end he starts wailing up like a Baptist preacher, like a Kojic preacher, just up and up and up. Love that song, and it's hard to get through that song sometimes. When I hear it, it's like it's just pulling at my heartstrings. We were discussing songs that kind of pull at your heartstrings today when I was at WVO earlier. With I was having a conversation with Darlene Hill, whom you all know I'm crazy about, right? And I told her, I said, one of those songs that I can't get through the whole song without crying is Anyone Who Had a Heart by Luther. It's like, yeah, he took a whole 2-minute song and made that sucker like 5.5 minutes. She said, make you want to slit your wrist, don't it, baby? I'm like, only if it's with you. Let's go together, baby. Let's go together. Here's Luther on Bedtime Stories. Good look at me. Good night, Dorothy. I dream of you, knowing I love you so. In her arms. Come on, Luther. And hurt me. Every time you go away. Oh, say it's goodbye, baby. Come on, Luther. Loving you the way I do. I'll take you back. I would die, dear. Knowing I love you so. Come on, Luther. Me too. You're hungry. Can I do? Boom, 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 boom. Mm. Knowing I love you so. Anyone had a heart in her. You hurt me like you hurt me. Huh. Be so untrue. Come on, Luther's rearing up on this one. Here it comes. Here it comes. Take me. All right, Dorothy. Anyone that had a heart would true love me too. Anyone who had a heart would surely take me. Forget about it. And that was the good part too. And it just goes. Luther Vandross, anyone who had a heart, right here on Bedtime Stories. The whole computer just froze. And at the end of the show, too, what's going on? I tell you, it it was getting to the good part. I closed my eyes and looked up. I'm like, how did that happen? Anyway, Bedtime Stories with your peanut butter brother, Dr. Al Greer, resetting the computer as we speak. I only got 7 minutes. Luther done he done my computer in. Luther, shame on you, Luther. Anyway, it's your peanut butter brother Al Greer. Dorothy Handy Taylor said, I had to read my Bible scripture tonight, but she said I'm back, and I appreciate it. Ken Watlington said, I will see you tomorrow. Your PC ran into a problem and needs to restart. 7 minutes before the show ends, and then it has to restart. But anyway, let's talk, shall we, while it does its thing. Oh, I forgot. I still have my phone. I can still play music on the phone, can't I? Anyway, once again, we were talking about relationships earlier tonight, of how people send what they call a representative. They send that person that they're not really that person, right? They send that representative, and once they got you, that's pretty much it. Once you guys, are into a committed relationship or married or whatever, then all of a sudden that person changes on you. But how many people know that they didn't change? It was who they were all the time. You just didn't see it at first. And then all of a sudden, why are you treating me like this? Why do you feel like, and that's just it. It's the way that person always was. You just didn't see it because you know how many people think or know, and I'm sure you've heard this. Love is blind. Love is blind, and you never know what's going to happen when you meet that person. Know what's going to go on, further up the road, and that's what happens. You never know what's going to happen. All right, I'm gonna try to play this video on my phone, and hopefully that it will play. My computer just decided to just dump everything. Well, that song's too long to play. Let me try to get out of here. Anyway, it's right. Here we go. So now I need to cut myself off because I'm listening to myself. Here we go. All right. Ah, here we go. No, not that one. Nope, 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 nope. Come on. Act right here. Here we go. All right, all right. Okay, I get it. All right. Hopefully, we would have worked the bugs out tomorrow, right? Okay. Anyway, sorry. Let's go straight to the theme song. No, not that. All right. Okay. Skip to the video. Thank you so much for staying up. I really appreciate it, even with the technical difficulties that we went through. Thank you to Ken Watlington, also to John Call, Dorothy Handy Taylor, Ronnie. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thank you for helping a brother out the other night. That was the best Polish I ever had. I'm like, I don't remember the Polish as being that big, but okay. Shut up. I don't hear anything you have to say behind that. But once again, thank you so much for staying up with me. Did I forget any? Cecilia, those who didn't make um, comments. Dorothy Handy Taylor, thank you so much for staying up with me. Pamela Hawkins, Pam, I appreciate you more than you'll ever know. Vic Jackson, Greg Beasley. Yeah, that's just about it. Thank you so much. Katrina Worley, who was on earlier. Thanks, sis. And that's it. Russell Baker, prayers go out to you, brother. Get well soon so you can shake and bake all over the place with a new back and a new lease on life. Till next time, blue skies, green lights, and peace. Good night. And be cool. What happened to my computer? Good Lord. That's a show for the books right there, boy. That is one for the books. I'm like, what the hell happened? It just locked up. Good night, Dorothy. I'll see you Sunday if I don't see you tomorrow here on my Facebook Live. Um, Once again, thank you for staying up with me. I know some people like to go to bed early, be in the bed before, 10, 12 o'clock. But once again, thank you. I appreciate you for staying up with me. And once again, good night, y'all. Peace out. Till tomorrow.